All right, Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs are finishing up their second week of spring practice, depending on when you're watching this. And today we're going to talk about the wide receivers. Kirby Smart earlier this week had a lot to say about his wide receivers, particularly the three incoming transfers that are coming in, right? Colby Young from Miami, Michael Jackson III from Southern Cal, and London Humphreys from Vanderbilt. Someone asked him about those three transfers, and here's what Kirby Smart had to say this week. He said, "They've all been a little banged up." Not exactly what you want to hear, but it is the spring. It happens. He said Colby Young has been a little banged up. He's had an ankle happen right before we started, right before we went on break. He's been able to practice some and do some things. He's actually gotten better with each practice. So by the time you're watching this, who knows? Maybe he's getting closer and closer to 100%. He probably did the least in any of his practices, the first practice, and then a little more in his third practice. So last week, he has been progressing. And they talked about Michael Jackson has shown up and made some plays, and so has London Humphreys. London is really in his second year of college football. Sometimes when you take a guy in the portal, you think immediate Ra Thomas, Dominic Lovett type, right? They came in last year and made a solid impact in their first year with Georgia last year, especially Dom Lovett. Now, Ra Thomas was banged up here and there, but when the ball went his way, good things happen. So, yeah, you do expect, receivers to come in and make an impact because they scared off everyone behind them. Georgia had like 5 wide receivers hit the transfer portal because they knew, hey, all right, I'm not going to play here. Even though Ladd McConkey left, even though Marcus Rosemy, Jack Saint left, there's still so much talent in this room. So Jackson Meeks, Denylon Morissette, Mekhi Muse, who I don't think ever got on scholarship, and a few others are like, we got to go. We got to go. And so Kirby's saying, hey, you can't really expect every receiver to come through the program and have the immediate success that Dom Lovett did, and to a certain extent, Ra Thomas. But did say London has played in our conference, but is a young player who is still developing. I don't sit here and put expectations on top of people of having super high expectations. That didn't really make sense, but that's what's written right here. I want them to fit into our culture, buy into special teams, practice hard, and learn how to practice in the spring to come back in the fall and be conditioned and smarter to benefit us more. Each one of them has done that. So he's saying they're coming in, they're ready to learn, ready to compete, right? If you're not ready to compete and you don't practice hard, get out of here. I mean, that's what Kirby's saying. That's what everyone in the program says. If you're not built for Georgia, you're not built for championships. And you're not going to succeed at Georgia if you don't give every rep 100%. And these receivers came in and they knew that. They came to Georgia for a reason, because of the winning culture, because of how hard these guys work. Everyone gets better. Even the receivers that left Georgia to go somewhere else, they got better at Georgia. They may not have played much, but they're a better receiver because they started at Georgia. And they should make an impact elsewhere where the depth chart isn't so crowded. And these guys that played at Georgia and know what it takes to compete and practice at a high level, they're going to be at all these places, whether it's Purdue, Syracuse, wherever they ended up. And they're like, this is easy. I've been practicing at Georgia for a couple years now, 1 year, whatever. I can practice and compete anywhere. I know what it looks like. But at the end of the day, and I've talked about this before, they need an alpha receiver, or do they? I think that's a big question. You can win a national championship without a number one true go-to alpha receiver, but it helps if you have one. I don't know if they've got a guy as good as A.D. Mitchell or Ladd McConkey or George Pickens on the roster. There's no A.J. Green on the roster, right? But there's a lot of guys. It's a deep group, and it's deep with good talent. I don't think there's elite talent. Maybe Dylan Bell brings you a special skill set that you could say is elite, right? But no one's proved to be an elite wide receiver right now. And I say elite, I'm talking about the best of the best. That doesn't mean you're not really good. People throw the word elite out there way too much. You better be like top 5, top 10 across the country, whether you're a team player. If you're not one of the very best of the best, you're not elite. And I don't think there's one of the best at wide receiver on Georgia's roster. But that doesn't mean it's lack of talent. Colby Young, when he is healthy, that's a legit 6'5", big possession receiver who can run like a deer. You got London Humphreys, again, another transfer, But Georgia saw how good he was last year when he was racing down the field by Javon Bullard and Tyke Smith on his way to a touchdown on that opening drive in Nashville, right? They said, that guy's something. Let's bring him down here to Athens. Michael Jackson III, he said, I committed to Georgia because I want to go play. I want to make plays for a big program and a team that can actually win a national championship. Unlike Southern Cal, where they can't stop anybody, and we got to score 60 points every week just to keep up with them. They don't play defense at Southern Cal. They play a lot of defense at Georgia. And Michael Jackson said, I can make a lot of plays at receiver knowing that, the defense is going to be good. I got a quarterback that knows how to throw the ball to me. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why people come to Georgia. But they came to Georgia because they wanted to play and compete. The guys leaving Georgia knew that they couldn't play. And they couldn't compete with what else was in the roster. So the guys coming in are hungry. The guys leaving are just hungry to play somewhere else. But you do have Dylan Bell, who's really good. And I think Colby Young is going to be really good. And Dom Lovett is reliable. He's dependable. Ra Thomas has shown flashes of big playability. Arian Smith, still on the roster. That's a track guy. Anthony Evans, coming in year 2. He's a track guy. You got 2 guys at wide receiver who could probably run for the Georgia track team. You've got track speed. You've got size. You've got numbers. This group goes 7 deep. They really do. They go 7 deep. This is a very, very good group of receivers. And Kirby knows that. And I think if you're a receiver, you just have to get on the same page with Carson Beck. Because he's going to distribute the ball to the guys that he trusts, the guys that are going to run the correct routes, that know what they're doing, can catch the ball, but can get open. And he's going to make the smart decision with the football, whether it's slinging the ball downfield in single coverage, going in intermediate routes across the middle of the field of guys open, or if it's a check down. Carson Beck's going to do what he needs to do to make the smart decision with the football and move the ball down the field. You don't have to launch it down the field every play. Now, he does have to connect on a little bit more of those. If he does, Georgia's offense could be one of the more explosive offenses in college football. I still think it will. But if they can connect down the field a little more vertically, good luck stopping this team, this offense, and the team in general. And they've got the guys to do it. They've got guys who can stretch the field. And all these guys are fighting for playing time. They're competing. They all want their targets. They all want the ball coming their way. At the end of the day, there's only one football. And you got a stable of backs who want to run the ball. And you've got Oscar Delp who wants to catch it. Right? You got the kid from Stanford, Ben Urasek. You got Lawson Lucky, who is only getting better at tight end. There's only one football. There's a ton of receivers. I don't think there's an alpha. I don't think there's a true number 1 yet. I don't think it's as talented as maybe it's been in the past few years. But as far as production goes, there shouldn't be a ton of drop-off because you have an elite quarterback and you've got a lot of guys who can get open on their own. If Carson Beck does his job, which I expect him to, and make the correct reads and do the right things with the football, these guys are going to get touches. They're just not going to catch 50, 60 passes. Now, if you're a receiver who wants to do that, go for it. Go to Southern Cal, lose 5 games. Go to Tennessee, lose 3 or 4 games. Get all the passes you want thrown your way. Get all the yards, get all the touchdowns. Some people are like that. Some people don't care about winning a championship. That's the furthest thing from their mind. Some of these players, especially the wide receivers, they want to get paid. They want to catch the ball. They want to score a lot of touchdowns, pick up a lot of yards. And they want to go to the NFL. These receivers don't care about winning a national championship. A lot of them don't. Some do. And those are the guys coming to Georgia. They want to get developed. They want to win. Ladd McConkey wanted to win. Ladd McConkey could have sat out at the Orange Bowl like 100 Florida State players did. He said, no, I love the game. I love to compete. I love to play football. Sorry, Florida State. You quit. And I still can't get over that. That's mind-boggling to me. Ladd McConkey, better than 99% of the players on Florida State's roster, could have sat out the Orange Bowl. He absolutely could have sat out the Orange Bowl. He didn't, because he's a competitor. And that's what this team is. That's what this culture is. You work hard, you compete, you practice hard, you get ready for Saturdays, and you win. There's only one team that's been able to beat the Georgia Bulldogs in the past 30 years, and it's a Nick Saban coached Alabama team. That's it. That's it. If you come to Georgia, you come to win. And the 3 receivers coming in, they're there to play, and they're there to compete, and they're there to win ball games. That's what this is all about, right? Going to the draft, that's great. That's ideal, right, for this coaching staff to bring in players, develop them, and hear their name called early in round one. That's the goal. But the ultimate goal, the bigger goal, is to win a national championship. And unfortunately, a lot of players these days, I think, just don't care about that. That's not their top goal. It's not their top priority to win a national championship. It's like further down, closer to 10 than it is to 1, especially the wide receivers. Everyone's different. I'm not labeling anyone specific, but that's why Georgia's different. And these wide receivers are very good, but it's still a question mark as far as who's the number one guy, who's the alpha, who's going to lead the team receiving. I think that's all a big question mark right now. But I think Kirby Smart is happy with the group he has, especially if these transfer wide receivers continue to develop and stay healthy. Y'all, thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate it. You can sign up to Dawg Post by clicking the newsletter. That link is right down below. It's free to sign up, free to read these stories on Dawg Post. So make sure you do that. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you on the website.